Godzilla.
Alright, first up, let's take a look at Burning Godzilla because I have the least amount to say about him. So, for the most part, I think the action figure series team did quite a damn good job with Burning Godzilla. Yes, he will be missing the burning streaks going up his neck, but we are going to have those fierce red and orange eyes. Just look at that. He has definitely seen boobs. Get that baby open. I'm not seeing any misconstrued natures going on here. Tongue be tonguey. And the dorsal fins won't be translucent this go around, but they are a nice orange. Some even sporting some reds. We're going to have the blackened cores at the center of them, and for the most part, I think they're rather beautifully repped with some lovely detailings. We will see this dorsal fin paint go right into the tail, just right there, but unfortunately, the rest of the tail will remain unpainted in its screen-accurate dusty whites. That's what they call me when I get into the deli in the morning, dusty white. So unlike the Movie Monster Series 2.0 figure, we're actually going to have burning patches on the shoulder blades over here. They kind of look like digitized blobs, I guess, with the way that these things were painted. They're more angular than they are shapely. Bro be looking like a video game glitch. Just a bit. Looks like something you'd shoot in Space Invaders. But when you move on to his burning ditties, there is going to be a lovely cornucopia of red, orange, and yellow. In comparison to that of the Movie Monster Series 2.0 figure, the red, yellow, and orange are actually well blended together, and it doesn't look like some were just strewn in there by random. And the same could be said for his crotchkini over here. Some red, some yellow, some orange, nothing directly discernible as to when and where the other color was put into it. The thighs as well. They give off a bit of a 3D effect with all the different colors. Not that it's popping out at you, but you can actually see where things are burning the brightest. They were applied rather nicely. Some areas I feel could have used a bit more just because when you hit them from a certain side, the base plastic shows, but we're gonna get standard toe paint on his feet, not without sporting some details. Yes, plural. And we'll get that same make and model on his claws. Detail-wise, it's Burning Godzilla tried and true. We've got the popcornular looking details on his torso, tree bark-esque looking details across his entire body. We'll go from tree bark of the top of the tail to the more rugged disposition on the bottom side. Not too much going on the underside of the feet. He do got crotch though. And yeah, as far as paint and detail goes for action figure series Burning Godzilla, I can't complain. Burning Godzilla comes with his cum clouds. Now, there isn't any instructions on how and where to really place these, but if you look at the image on the box, you can basically tell where you're supposed to do it. This cock ring looking one will go around his neck, just like that. There is some shaperies going on here to let you know where to place it on his neck. Readjustments may be required, and it's all fairly simple. You might have to finagle them here and there. Like this arm piece, this part kind of like hooks under his pit over here. So you kind of have to, as I said, finagle. There we go. And then you've got the thigh piece over here, which, yeah, I would recommend moving the thigh out a bit and then readjusting once it's on. And there we go! Burning, steaming up Godzilla. Now, if you couldn't tell, these parts are rubbery. They are not going to be a hard plastic or anything like that. They are essentially just going to sit on the body in certain areas, so they are in danger of falling off. So, you know, if you need to stim in school and everything, and you have a particular thing that you like stimming with, and that particular thing just happens to be with this, I would definitely suggest leaving these at home or bringing like a Ziploc baggie. I'm pretty sure such things were present on other Burning Godzilla figures that featured the steam effects. The neck part stays on. This one actually stays on the best. But for the most part, if you're going to be posing this guy on a shelf and you want him to look extra drippy, these steam effects do quite the job. It does somewhat feel, though, that Bandai really hates that spiral ray accessory, so I imagine not everybody's going to be happy with just steam effects. But I give it a passing grade. Now let's get Heartburn Goji out of here and talk about the real draw to this set. Move over, Tums Goji. It's time for Destu.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck?
Yeah, your eyes ain't fooling you. Destoroyah is very much shorter than Godzilla again. The one thing that Destoroyah won't be short on, in comparison to the 2.0 Movie Monster Series release, is actually color. Destoroyah's titty anus is actually going to be fully painted this time and not spotlit painted. We're gonna get some inner mouth paint. The membranes of the wings are actually going to have colors, and is that a decal circle? I mean, I know these things weren't technically painted. They were likely just printed upon or melted on, but that's an interesting inclusion. All the toes and kneecappy and thorns and that fun stuff, that's all going to be painted just like the claws, not much different there. But hey yo, look at that horn. From orange to a piercing yellow, from root to tip. My goodness. But I think the biggest flex on this figure is just going to be the shading on Destoroyah's crown over here. Yeah, the black is actually touched up upon and doesn't look like blobs of nothingness. It actually brings out the detail and looks good in hand. Same for the tusks over here as well. Although just like nearly every movie monster series Destoroyah ever, they're only going to be painted on one side. Destoroyah is going to have piercing orange eyes with some guy liner on there for good measure. Zoom! The Destoroyah's teeth are going to be painted on, and I'm not sure if Destoroyah had teeth up there, but there are certain raised details there to suggest otherwise. The lower jaw row of teeth is going to be much, much cleaner, and yeah, plump tongue. Other than that, I think the details are rather lovely. We got the mini wings out and prominent with their own color base, and honestly, when it comes to details, yeah, the details are rather fantastic. Not too much going on the bottom of the feet, moving into the crotch and thighs and everything else, though. Yeah, there's a lot to look at in terms of details. The back of Destoroyah is going to be entirely absent of all paint possible, but there will be details. Loads and loads of details. Details as far as the eye can see. And of course, that's going to carry over into the tail over here, which will have that tail-tipped claw. Underside of the tail isn't going to differentiate too much from the rest of the tail, and that's perfectly fine. Destoroyah on a visual standpoint beyond all of its short comings, I think is quite nice. And unfortunately, Destoroyah doesn't come with any accessories, but since I got the 2-pack, it does come with this little Movie Maniacs Todd McFarlane version that Bandai did postered the thing. I thought it was going to be bigger, but as a man, I don't know how to determine size. Before we move on over into size comparisons, let's take a quick look at how these two size up to their movie monster series counterparts, and I do mean quick. I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not. I'm going to say that action figure series Burning Godzilla definitely has the superior looking patches, just because the differentiation of color isn't so strewn about. You know, here you can see the mustard on ketchup type squigglaging that was going on with the movie monster series figure. And don't get me wrong, I still like this guy, but you know, there's a clear superiority complex going on. And I will forever love that we finally got some translucent dorsal fins for that of Burning Godzilla in the movie monster series, but the orange, the metallic, and the sheen, my god, this is a hard toss-up, to be completely honest. In presentation, i.e. not gloss, I would definitely take this guy, but when it comes to having a Burning Godzilla that looks fire, I would definitely go with this dude. Could you imagine if Movie Monster Series did a steamed Burning Godzilla figure and all of this was part of the mold? Hold on. Alright, not gonna lie, I don't hate how this looks. Destoroyah. Okay, alright. Yeah, wing-wise, action figure series is gonna take it. Horn-wise, action figure series is gonna take it. Just overall coloration, action figure series is gonna take it. Crown shading, definitely action figure series. Chesticle hole, action figure series. And I guess I could go further and say that the base color for the action figure series is definitely more on par with Destoroyah than this is, maybe? Probably? I don't know, I like how this looks a lot more than this. All I'm trying to say is, take all of this color, all of this, and toss it onto that figure, and this thing becomes a bit better. I said a bit. Woo, Dolly, that is short. Anyway, time for some updated size comparisons. Soup. Spicy Italian sausage and potato, very filling. Some barilla fettuccine, great with Alfredo and most thick pasta sauces and gravies.
Pour me lasagna!
Extra strength Tylenol, for that pain in your ass. Teapot, because I'm a fancy bitch. Aveeno Skin Relief Moisturizing Lotion, to rub out all of those hard edges. And finally, laxatives, to get that stick out of your ass. Modern Day Movie, Godzilla Collection, Olden Days Movie, and Limited Modern Day Movie. Funko Ichiban Show, an assortment of minifigures and finger puppet. Action Figure Series 1, Action Figure Series 2. Wasn't that hilarious and informative? Anyway, articulation. Starting up first with Poster-kun. No ball joint, no swivel. It's a nice print, though. Ball joint at the head. Can look up that far and much further down that far. Swivel at the neck, some light left and right movements. Right, left. Door can open and close. The arms are on ball joints, so they can move out and in. They can rotate all the way around. And since the wings are attached to the back of the arms, every time you pose the arms, you will be posing the wings. When it comes to the wings, the smaller ones will only be able to swivel all the way around. The bigger ones can as well, but they will have a ratcheted hinge joint going on over here, so you can get them going either straight up or having them resting at Destoroyah's side. Not the craziest amount of wing articulation for that of a Destoroyah figure, but the results are quite nice. I personally prefer to have them kind of up like this, like Destoroyah is a bit of a Batman. The legs can kick forward about that far before they pop off, and they can kick back. There goes the foot. Talk about getting off on the good foot there, Destoroyah, huh? Yeah, that's as far back as the legs can go before you push it and possibly get the foot cracked off again. The tail is on a ball joint, so it can swivel all the way around. Move up, move down, move side to side, and then another ball joint at the midpoint over here. Up and down, side to side. And then at the ankle, we are going to get a point down and maybe... Okay, so as you can see, the hinge over here is going to be situated at a side-to-side movement, but since it's on a ball joint, there will be some pointing up and down motions at the foot as well, as demonstrated like that. I said some, not a lot, but since it is on a ball joint, you can twisty-turny them. Yes, that means no bends at the elbow or at the knee, and I think that is mostly due to the fact that Destoroyah is pretty small. He's pretty small. I mean, at a fully extended motion, Destoroyah is only going to be standing slightly over 5 inches tall. Meanwhile, Burning Godzilla will be standing at nearly 6 inches tall. Oh, how am I able to discern such hieroglyphics? Burning Godzilla is going to feature articulation that we've seen in this line prior. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. Again, not amazing, but not in any way bad, comparable to that of the Ultra Action series just with Godzilla, or even the Dragon Ball Dragon Stars line for Dragon Ball Z and other Dragon Force stuff. Can't complain, really don't think it needed to be much more than this, but I do think these figures could use that of an ab crunch still. As then, I feel like we'd be getting more of a complete articulation package. I feel like that's all that's really lacking here. But, you know, for what they are, it's okay. Full swivel at the tail, up and down, barely side to side. Swivel all the way around, side to side, side to side. All the way around, up and down, side to side. And that's pretty much it when it comes to articulation for these action figure series figures. Let's take a look at some poses. Action figures gotta pose, right? And these figures do in fact pose, it's just, I feel like there is a missing element when it comes to the articulation and posability of these things, and I really do think it is a torso crunch, or just having the ability to have the heads look up a bit further. Destoroyah not having bendable knees and arms out of the box and in play mode, I can kind of understand, especially with the wings, but I do feel a torso ab crunch, something to that extent, could really help out here. Same with maybe another joint in the neck to help them look up. Other than that, I mean, I think Burning Godzilla far exceeds the Movie Monster Series 2.0 release, and when it comes to Destoroyah, I feel nearly the same. Destoroyah feels like it has a bit more color to it this go around, and it doesn't have all that unnecessary shading paint that looks like it wasn't even touched up upon. For what these things are, and in comparison to what we've gotten out of this line before, I would still say these two are on the toppest of top tier. Burning Godzilla following up 91 is great, great, and Destoroyah following up Kiryu is a breath of fresh air? A total win in the race? I don't know. If you find these figures out and about, or even if you come across the set, and you've enjoyed what you've seen so far in this video, I say, why not? Go for it. And if not, well, you get to save money for something that you really do want. Anyway, I've been ShinraObject. I do so hope you all enjoyed this review. I've got some Ultraman on the way. I've got some more Godzilla finger puppets on the way. Big Bad Toy Store, limited movie monster series Bandai Premium exclusive Super Godzilla, Shining Light Out of Your Ass Burning Godzilla, and G-Claw Jet Jaguar soon. Probably early into next month. Other than that, have a lovely weekend. Bye.